Live from FedEx Forum, this is The Odds Couple, presented by WinBet on GrindCityMedia.com. Here's Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker.
Hello, good people. Welcome to another edition of The Odds Couple. As we start the show each and every week now, single on fish.
Single on fish!
Hi, everybody. Good to see you, those watching here on The Odds Couple. Welcome those listening here to The Odds Couple. We appreciate you. It's another big week of college football, National Football League. We got a lot to talk to today.
Lang. A shout out to the Vern Lundquist. We got a good tilt at 2:30 on CBS. Could be a lot of those in that game this weekend.
No Lang Whitaker today. He is out. He'll be back to the program next week. John Roser, how are you, man?
I'm great. I am not as good as both of you are doing. Although, if you look at the
picks
have been good. CJ, you're doing really well too. Fish, you got to come
Fish,
up. You got to stop picking SEC games.
Yep.
You got to stop picking SEC games. Mm-hmm. But for both of you guys, it's a big day. Look at that. I saw you post this on Instagram yesterday, Fish. 19 years in Memphis.
That's right. That's right. City. Thank you.
You are no longer a St. Louian.
Yeah.
St. Louis.
Memphian.
You are not a Las Vegan.
Got a flat tire today. I asked the guy.
Then you are and this is not your first.
I said, I've had the car for 6 months, and this is the second flat tire. And he goes, Memphis.
Yeah. Potholes everywhere.
I was like, yep, you're
no,
right.
true story. Last time I got a flat tire, last 2 flat tires I got were driving on Airways. I have not driven on Airways since. That was 3 years ago. I've never driven. I will not go on Airways.
I was at Union and, the Parkway, which turns into Airways.
Right,
so same sort of deal.
I've been there crossing the parkways where you turn into Airways, but I never will go straight drive down Airways anymore.
Twice.
Yeah, no. It's Airways. Avoid it. But happy 19 years.
Thanks, man.
In Memphis. Love to have you. Happy to call you a co-host. Happy to call you a friend.
Oh, appreciate it.
Been there
man.
for me, and I'm there for you.
Yes,
My
sir.
guy Fish. Another big day over here.
Yep.
For our wonderful producer, Mr. Conradicalness, CJ Hurt. Happy birthday, CJ.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
CJ's
much. I appreciate
birthday.
it. Thank
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope for both of you, for your birthday gift and for your 19 years in Memphis gift. I hope we got some winners this week.
We
got winners this week.
Update, we are 60 and 40
Woo!
on the air. Just making money for people. 60 and 40.
That is 60.
20 over 500.
Look at this math. 60%.
That is
You did that in your head.
that's
That's
right.
why we're so good, baby.
That's why we know the numbers.
That's right. 60%. That's right.
Yes.
Very good. Which is great.
Yeah.
So we're very proud of that. We'll have picks at the end of the week or at the end of the show, like we do each and every week, including picks from Lang. So we won't forget Lang's picks.
Yes.
He has sent them in.
Yes.
Roser, this last week, what did we learn? What did we learn in the last week?
Oh, man. What did we learn? Clemson, Dabo Swinney was a Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence creation. I don't know.
Wow.
I'm sticking with that hot take. It's like the it's the Greg Popovich was a Tim Duncan creation, you know. But Clemson's offense is really, really bad.
Yeah.
Like really, really bad.
I think we got to give a little credit to Etienne, too.
Yeah, we do need to give a credit to Etienne. And, they've also had some amazing players come through there. T. Higgins, obviously, was one of the more recent wide receivers. Hunter Renfrow, who's playing very well in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins. I mean, they've had some stacked talent at that Clemson program. I will also say what we learned this weekend. Memphis is Memphis is what I thought they were. I learned that's what they are. I had questions. Their defense we know can be a little shaky, but they are better up front. But I had questions about their offense. 14 of their 31 points in that Mississippi State game came from special teams and a scoop and score, their first score of the game.
Yep.
Which I do wonder, that happened again in the UTSA game.
Yes.
Memphis's first score of the game, a scoop and score. I wonder the last time that happened, a team's first touchdowns of the game in back-to-back games were scoop and scores. But then you look at Memphis, they score 21 points the rest of the game. Their offense is very vanilla, and this is – I think you see this is the transformation that is going on with Ryan Silverfield's program. It is going to be very different in a year or two from what Mike Norvell was doing here. When you get past Calvin Austin and Sean Dykes, who were Norvell, recruited under Norvell and everything, and Austin was like a walk-on. He's a track guy. Where is the speed? Where are the playmakers on the outside? Like you used to have Kenny Gainwell and Antonio Gibson and Calvin Austin and DeMonte Cokes. Like you had multiple guys all over that field that could catch the ball and make plays in the open
just
field.
Kept reloading.
And it's like I'm seeing, Jonah Jordan, some other guys saying during this game, just throw the ball to Calvin Austin, throw the ball to Calvin Austin. And it's like, man, is that it's almost like back in the Tommy West days when it's like, just throw it to Duke Calhoun. It's like, what, you got one guy? Like the playmakers are not there on the outside. Now, they've got running backs. They've got talent, they're running backs, and Silverfield is an offensive line guy. That's what he was, an offensive line coach. I think he wants to build, and I think they're stronger on the defensive line, even though UTSA just wore them down with that draw game. Wore them down, and credit to them for sticking to the game plan. But I think you see the future of Memphis' program. Silverfield wants to be that. I think he wants to be when you look at guys he's recruiting, whether it's transfers, got a couple big guys from Michigan State that transferred in. Like he's trying to beef up the offensive and defensive lines, and he wants to be a power team.
Yeah. CJ, what we learn?
Ab Magnifico, right? So it's not just...
And Magnifico,
think about
right.
the good tight ends that have come through. There were a couple that came through before Magnifico.
And Norvell didn't really use Sean
helped.
Dykes. He didn't really use him. To Silverfield's credit, he does use him a lot more.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger should not be the quarterback of your football team if you want to be any good.
It's a tough one.
That's hard. It's hard to say. And the Steelers, because it is the Steelers, and because it is Mike Tomlin, because it's Ben Roethlisberger, there's so much automatic respect for what they've been able to do and accomplish throughout the Steelers franchise history and those two individuals' individual history. Right, but when you look at Ben, you could tell that he's not all the way right. And by not all the way right, I mean he's old. And Father Time remains undefeated. Ben Roethlisberger right now, 3rd in attempts in the NFL. You say, oh, okay, cool. It's Ben Roethlisberger. You want him to throw the ball. 25th in completion percentage. And of the 28 quarterbacks with over 80 attempts, Ben Roethlisberger is like 6th worst. Like he's not accurate anymore. He can't really push the ball down the field. One of the things that made Ben Roethlisberger so great was his ability to, if you rushed him, you weren't going to bring him down. He was such a behemoth of a man and such a good athlete for that size that he's throwing defensive ends and linebackers off of him, and with that cannon of an arm making a play downfield. Well, he's older now. He can't do that near as well.
Do you think, and I wonder if some of this, now obviously Roethlisberger has lasted longer, had more elite seasons, but Roethlisberger did have some injuries throughout his entire career too that he did play through, and I wonder if, do you think it's similar to Cam Newton, where both of those guys,
it's the exact same thing.
They got hit different and officiated different because of how big that they are, and those hits have taken their toll on both of them. I do think Pittsburgh also is a bad offensive line. The thing I learned in the NFL, he is not the best ever to ever play the position, but Aaron Rodgers is the best thrower of the football in the history of the game. I have never seen a quarterback that throws a better ball than him. It's unbelievable, some of the passes that he makes. Like the 49ers get killed for some of their defenses.
It's amazing some of the passes he attempts.
The one that he threw to Valdez-Scantling in that back, like in the middle of the end zone, I don't think there is not another quarterback in the league that could make that throw. Maybe Herbert. Yeah. Herbert throws a beautiful pass. He throws a beautiful ball too. But the one that gets talk about the second pass he threw to Adams, where the rookie corner was playing so far back in the zone because he was playing too close up, and Valdez-Scantling was able to get behind him on that touchdown. And I think that was in the back of his mind on that game. We've got some great primetime football games, by the way, in the NFL this year. We really have. But I think if you go back to the first pass that Rodgers threw to Adams, dude, Fred Warner is who's one of the best cover linebackers in the league, all-pro player, has his arm completely outstretched. Like, Adams is right there behind him. And Rodgers puts that ball right over the top of his fingertips, and I'm like, he's the only guy that can do that in this league. It is incredible some of the passes he throws.
Yeah. Thing I learned this week, CJ, we talked a little bit about it before the show. One of my losses, one of my bad beats last week was the Liberty giving 6 against Syracuse. And Liberty had first and goal with 3 minutes to go. They had then ended up 4th and goal at the 2, tie game with 3 minutes left. And God love Hugh Freeze. Man just wants to be a covering machine. He goes for it. Goes for it. Goes for it. I mean, the announcers are like, I can't imagine any reason why he'd be going for it here. And I'm like, because they're giving 6. They're giving 6. I'm yelling at the TV. They're giving 6. This is amazing. They didn't make it.
Yeah, they didn't make it.
And Syracuse goes right down the field and gets a field goal to win it.
Yeah.
Because even when they didn't make it, I was like, well, maybe overtime. Maybe I'll get lucky here and get an overtime win. Didn't. But that was – I applaud Hugh Freeze for going for the cover.
Yes. No, absolutely. Because I and I've said it several times on this show, I'll never forget when Terry Bowden was working for Yahoo and also doing stuff for CBS Sports. And back when Vernon and I were at AM 730 and we had Terry Bowden on. Great interview. All the Bowdens are amazing interviews. Terry Bowden said, Chris asked him about it, and he said, I think every coach knows the line. Every coach in the country knows the point spread. Now, some of them just don't care.
Right.
Some of them don't. But there are some that do, and they will try to cover if they can. James Franklin will try to cover if he can. He's known. He will run it up on you. But, so props to Hugh Freeze.
Props to Hugh.
You are 100% right. He would say no, and other people would
be like, no.
He absolutely was trying to cover that spread.
That was awesome.
Trying to cover the spread against a Power 5 team.
And then I was really excited because I was expecting Clemson to play better last week.
Yeah.
I didn't know about if they'd win or if they'd cover, but I had the over in that game. And the only reason it went over by a half point because they went to double overtime.
Yeah, right. They went to double overtime. But
that's a good win. That's what that one is.
I wanted to take NC State at the beginning of the week, and I got scared off because I was like, well, Clemson can eventually. They got the talent to eventually get it together. And like, if you look at Dave Doran, their coach, look at his record against top 10 teams. It's like no wins, and they lose by like 21 points a game.
Right.
And I was like, I'll stay away, And I saw them lose to Mississippi State, who's not very good.
We got I want to ask you this question first before I go into it. SEC at this point of the season, let's just say the top 3 teams are Alabama, Georgia, Florida. I think most would agree on that. Maybe you'd have an argument for 3, but let's just put those 3 as the top 3. Who's 4?
Right now, I'd say Arkansas.
And I'm not saying best on resume. I'm not ranking teams. I want you to eye test only which team's better.
Eye test only, then is Ole Miss followed by Arkansas. But if we're talking about it from like what they've accomplished, is Arkansas. Sure.
Arkansas
is the top 5 SEC team.
Arkansas's the 3rd best if we're going resume.
Right.
Arkansas's. What do you think of Clemson?
Sure.
So Georgia's win over Clemson looks worse and worse by the day, and this is why this game is so interesting. I love this game, Georgia-Arkansas. I love this game.
And you got Alabama-Ole Miss.
Right. Well, that's the one I really love. But the Georgia-Arkansas, why it is so interesting, it's noon, but why it is so amazing to me is Georgia's defense as awesome as everybody thinks it is? Like, Clemson's offense isn't good.
You're right.
You shut out Vandy. Whoop-de-freaking-do.
Right.
And who else did they beat? School of the Numbnuts? I don't know.
I don't think it was them.
Yeah.
It was close. It might have been School of the Numbnuts.
Was it South Carolina?
Yeah.
It was South Carolina.
They beat South Carolina. But South Carolina, scored a few.
Yeah.
The game went over. Yeah, and they covered.
I think they did.
Yeah, so I don't – man, Arkansas definitely, to answer your question, yes. Arkansas would be who I think is the best. I would probably say Arkansas better than Ole Miss because I have questions about Ole Miss's defense. Even though it has been a little bit better this year, I still have questions. It's impossible for their defense to be elite with how fast they play on offense.
Right.
It just is, especially against SEC teams. But I do think Ole Miss has a better chance of beating Alabama than Arkansas would have of beating Alabama.
I think that's fair too.
But I think Arkansas has a better chance of beating Georgia than Ole Miss would have of beating Georgia.
Georgia's
if it
wins,
makes sense, because of styles. I think
styles matter in college football.
I think,
it happens all the time where one team beats another team who lost to the other team who ends up beating that team. It's confusing sport.
Because Georgia's offense, I think Arkansas's defense is really good. I think Arkansas is a really good defense, and Georgia's offense is not that great, that I think they will struggle to put up some points against Arkansas. And depending on turnovers and how short a field they have to go. But if it's just a regular game where they're having to drive, 70 yards, 80 yards, I think Georgia's offense will struggle to put up points against Arkansas. Whereas I don't think Georgia's offense would struggle as much to put up points against Ole Miss. And I think Georgia, I do think their defense is good. Yeah. Is it as good as everyone thinks? Is it like the 2000 Ravens, the college version of that? Probably not, but I think they would be able to get stops on Ole Miss.
Georgia's got wins over Clemson, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and UAB is the other team.
Yeah. And the South Carolina win was 40-13.
UAB's got Liberty this week.
Yeah, Liberty.
You know what it is? They're opening their brand new stadium in Birmingham. We'll talk to Lance Taylor about that. I know that's where he'll be. That's what he's excited about.
Georgia, Arkansas. That's one of the big matchups in the SEC this week. Georgia, an 18.5-point favorite against the Hogs. Here's Sam Pittman talking about getting Georgia on the schedule again for a second straight year.
Commissioner Sankey of Georgia's moved over to the SEC West because we played them 2 years in a row, but. With Georgia, we're excited to go back there. Jamie and I have such outstanding friends there, certainly on the coaching staff. And the reason I mentioned Georgia's, one, it's our crossover game, but the other is because of the indebtedness that I feel towards Kirby Smart. Kirby was very good to me. I wouldn't be the head coach at University of Arkansas without him. And we're looking forward to going back there and seeing our friends and certainly trying to compete against one of the best football teams in America.
They've kind of had that same attitude all year of just, oh, shucks, little us. We'll just do our best.
I loved also, there's another quote I heard from him this week when he was talking about his how he talks to players and how he doesn't believe promoting through fear. They say whenever they do something like they execute perfect in practice, that he goes around to everybody on the team that was out there on the field, congratulates all of them, great job, everybody. And he believes promoting, encouragement, motivating through encouragement, which is
new coaches. It's so important to have culture.
It's interesting, and I think look, we all laughed at Sam Pittman with the yes sir videos and everything, but you hear the guy talk, and he seems like a very genuine guy. And look, man, this is another thing, another reason you may like Arkansas is that relationship he had with Kirby Smart in Georgia. I don't think Kirby will want to run it up on him. I don't think Kirby will want to run it up.
Might not have the opportunity. Underdog has covered 5 of the last 6 in this series.
And it's a big number.
18.5. Georgia, 7 of their last 8 and 8 of their last 9 against SEC opponents have gone over. Their last 4 at home have gone over as well. And Arkansas, 3 of their 4 games this season have all gone over. So that's something to keep an eye on this week. That's 48.5. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Lance Taylor will join us from Birmingham. We'll talk about the Tigers as well. We got NFL coming up a little bit later on, and our picks. It's all ahead here on The Odds Couple on Grind City Media.
WynnBET is live in Tennessee and bringing you the action of real money sports betting right in the palm of your hand. Now you can get in on the action with all of your favorite teams across NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, MLS, and more. Don't forget to take advantage of the generous promos, great odds, and unique parlays available in Tennessee on the WynnBET app. Head to the App Store to download the WynnBET app and sign up today. First-time bettors will receive a risk-free sports bet of up to $500. Terms and conditions apply for all promotion. Get the details at wynnbet.com. WYNNBET.com. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Let's be honest and real. Do we expect the Jaguars to make it into the playoffs? No. What type of season will they have? Do you want to put your Trevor Lawrence, beautiful hair, a great guy, standing tall? It's kind of like you're putting him out to battle. It's the obvious move, but I don't know if it's the right move just yet.
Hopefully he stays healthy. I do not want to see anything happen to Trevor Lawrence.
Rise and Grind with Jessica and Megan. Live daily at 8 a.m. on grindcitymedia.com.
Don't miss the newest Grind City Media podcast, Infield Fly, with me, Rob Fisher, along with Lang Whitaker and Keith Murphy. Comes out each Tuesday, and we'll have the latest on our favorite teams and yours. Regional and Superstation teams, the Cardinals, Braves, and Cubs. While going around the horn to check in on the rest of the league. Be sure to subscribe today at grindcitymedia.com, iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud.
A lot of people are saying there's going to be so much free time this year, so I'm really considering maybe buying a piano for my new house. Out there.
A piano!
I'm really thinking about it. I really am.
The last guy that we had that played the piano was Mike Conley, and he's had a hell of a career.
Hey, man, that might be a good sign.
The Chris Vernon Show, live weekdays at noon on grindcitymedia.com or wherever you get your podcast.
Welcome back to grindcitymedia.com. Live from FedEx Forum. Now, here's more of the Odds Couple, Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker, presented by WinBet.
Hey, season tickets, man. You know the preseason starts on Tuesday.
Woo!
Guarantee your seats now to see John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr. in your next Gen Grizz this season. Place a 20% deposit today. Secure the best seats at the lowest prices to see your Grizz host the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nets, and more with 2021-22 Grizzly season tickets. Plus, when you become an MVP member, receive all the benefits, including special events, merchandise discounts, and more. Call 901-888-HOOP or click grizzlies.com today.
Single game tickets also on sale.
Yep.
I said I would pick, if I had a draft, I'd do Brooklyn first, my Nets. But I think that's because we didn't get to see KD and Kyrie last year.
No.
They sat out both games, and we had already played both games by the time before they ever traded for Harden.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the one I've seen LeBron and AD in Lakers.
2-0 against the Nets last year.
2-0 against the Nets last year. There's
that?
no doubt about it.
Big test for Ole Miss this week as they get Alabama this week, and that is a big line, 14.5. Alabama favored, just over 2 touchdowns against the Rebels. Here's Nick Saban talking about his old former offensive coordinator, Lane Kiffin.
When he came in, I said, look, we want to change this. We need to research this. You're smart. We can do this. And he actually did implement that and was the first one to sort of change how we did things on offense. It enhanced our opportunity to score more points. So he did a really good job. And I think there's been, because we're a little different, a lot of people have sort of wondered what the relationship was, but we never really had a bad relationship because there was always a lot of mutual respect for the kind of play caller he was, the kind of coach that he was, and the job that he did. And I actually said and told the people when he went to Florida Atlantic that Lane will be a better head coach than even he is an assistant. Because he has those kinds of qualities, and obviously he hasn't disappointed in the job that he did there or the job that he's done at Ole Miss. So none of this is a surprise to me.
Ole Miss and Alabama, the total of this game is 80. 5 of the last 6 meetings have gone over. The last 4 games between these two teams, Alabama has outscored Ole Miss on average 62-22.
So it hit 80. It did. It was 77.5 at open. I remember Chris Vernon asked me last week, and he was like, "What do you think that total is going to open up?" And I said 77. And he's like, "It won't open that high." I was like, "Well, if it doesn't, it's going to go up that high." And I texted him on Sunday night, and I said 77.5. I told you 77. And then I texted him yesterday. I said it's up to 79.5, but it hit 80.
It hit 80. I don't know where it is exactly at this moment.
I mean, if it's going to be last year's game, it's going to go well over that. So they have 111 last year.
Let's see. It is there. It is 79.5.
79.5.
So it's right there.
So it's right there. Yeah.
All right. Joining us now, he's the co-host of Next Round Live weekdays 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. He's on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor, and you can get his picks daily at lanceslock.com. Lance Taylor joins us here on the Odds Couple. Hello, Lance.
Hello, fellas. Yeah, that's a crazy total, but, I mean, you can't really be surprised based on what we saw last year. I mean, it was a complete track meet, 3 punts in that entire game. I think Ole Miss ran 86 plays. Alabama gave up the most yards they've ever given up in the SEC game, 647 yards. And, that was an Ole Miss offense that seems like they're better this year. Now, I do think Alabama's defense, although they haven't shown it yet, has the ability to maybe do better than that defense last year. But we know Alabama's offense isn't close to what Alabama's offense was last year. This number's ticked up to 15. We know Saban is 23-0 against former assistants. That's become a well-documented fact. 14-9 against the number in those 23 contests. And Ole Miss 0-13 all-time versus number one teams. I know Lane Kiffin would love this one. This is the one assistant Nick Saban does not want to lose to. I can't get a feel for this game. I mean, you guys know I'm a contrarian, and typically if I can play a quality favorite, the number one team in the nation, against the public, because 70% of the money is on Ole Miss right now, I typically do that. But 15 just seems like a lot in this spot.
I mean, I don't know what to do with it either. So when that doesn't happen, when you don't know what to do with that, just take the over and root for points. Just take the over and root for points. That's and that number is so high too. I am probably completely staying away from this game. If I was going to play anything, I don't even know. I think it's probably 7.5 maybe. I'd take the Bama first half line just because they seem to always cover that. But they didn't cover it last year against Ole Miss. They didn't cover the first half line against them.
And I'll jump in real quick, and that's what's interesting about this, because I think Lane Kiffin, we all agree, is one of the best play callers in college football. Whatever you think about Lane Kiffin, I think we all agree with that. And he's so good at scripting those first 10 to 14 plays. So, yeah, I fully expect Ole Miss to score some early points. And, you're laying probably 8 or 8.5 on this first line or first half total for Alabama. So I don't know if I'd touch it this time, Roser.
Yeah. I'm a little. It makes me nervous too. I'm trying to see. Yeah. Okay, the other one that we got to get to. We got to talk about another big SEC game this weekend. Georgia, Arkansas, obviously, and let me ask you this. This is a lot. Are the odds makers? I think they're overvaluing Georgia here. I do think Georgia's awesome, and Georgia was my pick to win the national championship before the season. But I think is their defense getting a little too much credit? Holding Clemson to what they held them to is not that big of a deal anymore when you look at Clemson's offense and the problems that they have. They beat South Carolina, whatever, and
Vandy.
They beat Vandy.
Shut them out.
Who gives a crap that you shut out Vandy? So. I look at this and I sit here and think, I think Arkansas might have a better chance. I think Arkansas has a better chance against Georgia because I don't know if Georgia's going to be able to move the ball. If you're just playing you got to go 70, 80 yards to score, obviously turnovers and things happen. But, I think Georgia's we're talking more about Arkansas's offense against Georgia's defense and not enough about Georgia's offense trying to score on Arkansas's defense.
Look, I don't disagree with Georgia's offense could have problems with this Arkansas defense. But if I had to bet one of these games, my life's on it. Which upset is more likely, Ole Miss over Bama or Arkansas over Georgia? I would say Ole Miss over Bama. Arkansas, sooner or later, Sam Pittman has solidified himself as one of the best coaches in the SEC. Right now, he's probably your national coach of the year. But this Georgia defense, they've scored more touchdowns than they've allowed offensive touchdowns. 2 defensive touchdowns to 1 offensive touchdown. I know they haven't played any juggernaut offenses at all, but Arkansas, it's all predicated on running the football. And in 4 games, Arkansas has gone over 200 3 times, and they've gone for 197 the other time. Georgia's gone 35 straight games not allowing a team to rush for 200 yards. That's pretty amazing. This 18.5 number, and I think it still sits at 18.5, it does. This is the largest spread versus top 10 SEC teams in the history of the SEC. I just think this number is this massive for a reason.
I don't.
You guys still there?
Oh yeah,
we got you. There we go.
I was like, wow, that was a real long dramatic pause.
I don't know what happened there. Anyway, this 18.5 number, I think it's there for a reason. I think Georgia could have some problems scoring points, but I don't see KJ Jefferson beating this team through the air. On the other side, I think Georgia will be able to effectively run the football. I hate playing 11 o'clock games, but if I played this, and this is another one of those where you get the number 2 team in the nation, and obviously Alabama and Georgia have separated themselves from the pack. You're laying 18.5, but the public is all over Arkansas. About 85% of the money is on the Hogs. I doubted them last week against A&M. I'm going to doubt them again. I think sooner or later it catches up to Arkansas. It is a lot of points, but I think I like Georgia here.
Well, that's interesting with 80% seat because you talked about all the money that's on Ole Miss, and that line dropped immediately because it opened at 20 and it went down quick. So if you're saying 80%,
that was those max bets, and I don't know if you guys saw that story, but you had 11 guys lay that max number out there, and that thing quickly went from 20 to 15.
So if 80% of the money's on Arkansas, and that line ain't moving. The line's not moving at all. Now the 20%, who is that?
What kind of money is
that the Sharps?
Right.
I don't know.
Is that the Sharps on Georgia? Is that what's keeping the line there? All right. There are a couple things happening also in your neck of the woods. One, I know it's got to be the biggest thing of the weekend there. And that's UAB's opening a new stadium?
They are, yes. And people are extremely excited. I mean, this was a program that was dead 5 years ago.
Literally.
And the Japanese part,
yes.
Yeah, literally dead. And, a lot of supporters and former players and a lot of local boosters came up with this plan, and they put a lot of money behind it. And they literally rose this program for the ashes. And now UAB is got a 47,000 seat stadium that is beautiful, and they're hosting Liberty. And unfortunately, Liberty's coming off that loss. There'd be a little bit more buzz with this game if Malik Willis was rolling in here at 4-0. But this is still an awesome situation. I mean, a team that has played in 3 consecutive CUSA championship games. This is an honest admission, and you brought up Berno earlier, and I had him on the show years ago when we were talking about this because UAB was about to play Memphis, and I admitted on the show, and this is probably 8 or 10 years ago, that I had never been to a UAB home game, and that stands true up until this day. And now I feel with this new stadium open, I've got to go, but it can't be this weekend because I'll be in Tuscaloosa for what might be the biggest game in college football this week with Ole Miss and Alabama. But I do plan on checking out the new stadium. I think this is an interesting number. I kind of like Liberty to bounce back, catching the 2 against UAB, just because of the elite quarterback play, and that's what UAB has lacked. I mean, they've gone to the number 2, Dylan Hopkins, and I just don't see Liberty losing back-to-back games.
The other team in your neck of the woods, they're playing in the Who Are They game this week as LSU hosts Auburn. Lance, who are they?
Yeah, I have no idea. And, the big storyline here, Rob, is who's going to get the start. Is it going to be Bo Nix or is it going to be T.J. Finley? And I think based on that 98-yard drive, although it wasn't pretty, I think you got to go with T.J. Finley. Now, the majority of people I talk to believe Bo Nix will get the start again. My point is, if Bo Nix starts and plays bad and you have to bench him again, I don't know how you bring him back.
Right.
Auburn 0-5 as a dog the last couple of years out. Max Johnson's 5-1 since he took over as starting quarterback for LSU. This number, I think, has ticked up to 5 now. It's a really difficult game. Actually, it's ticked down the other way. It's 3.5. I think I play LSU here. I don't feel comfortable. But let's not forget that Bo Nix had his maybe best career game of last year against LSU when Auburn won that one going away, completely destroyed the Tigers. He went for close to 400 total yards, 4 touchdowns. He played clean football, no picks. But I've just got a feeling that LSU, whoever starts, if it's Finley, he's hyped up too much. If it's Bo Nix, I think there's too much pressure on him, and he plays like Bo Nix typically plays on the road. I just don't think Auburn's got a good option at quarterback, and look, I think LSU's an average team.
What's one you like around the country that sticks out for you?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about two big national games.
Go for it.
Two big national ones, and I don't know what to make of it. Michigan, Wisconsin, and then the other one, Notre Dame getting points as a home dog against Cincinnati. And Notre Dame since 2014 has been a home dog 5 times. And they are 5-0 straight up, outright winners.
Yeah, their last 10 is home dogs, and I don't know how far that goes back, because obviously it goes further than what you've got. They're 8-2, so they've been good in that spot. And this is the first time Cincinnati's been a road favorite against a ranked opponent since 2009. Cincinnati didn't look good a couple of weeks ago against Indiana.
Covered though,
but Notre Dame's like a cat, man. They've been living on these borrowed lives. And I go back last week, and I backed Wisconsin, and again, 11 o'clock games. I hate playing them. But that game was 13-10 Wisconsin early in the fourth quarter. And Graham Mertz has just been that bad. Notre Dame had 9 rushing yards. They averaged 1 foot per carry. But when you've got 5 turnovers and you're 1 of 15 on third downs, you can't win that game. And looking ahead to this one, Notre Dame's going to have to be able to run the football. Michigan's going to have to be able to run the football. That's how they've gotten to 4-0. And Wisconsin's only allowing 23 yards per game on the ground. So I like Wisconsin in that spot. On the other one, I think I like Cincinnati against Notre Dame, kind of combining both of those teams going back to last week. And if Cincinnati wins this game, what's going to be interesting, fellas, is, their toughest game after that is going to be SMU at home. So if they go undefeated, what do you do with them if you're the committee? If they go back-to-back years undefeated and you have a 2-loss Clemson ACC champion, or you have a 2-loss Oklahoma Big 12 champion, I think there's a good chance Cincinnati might get in.
Yeah, went on the road and beat Indiana. Went on the road and beat Notre Dame. Yeah, I mean, the resume stacks up for them if they were to run the table that they could get a little love. All right, Lance, is there a game that stands out around the country?
Typically, you don't like playing 0-4 teams, Rob, but I'm going to take a look at, Syracuse coming off the upset against Liberty. Now they're taking on Florida State. Florida State's been really close. We played them last week against Louisville. They were getting dominated at halftime. They came back and at least teased us. Mike Norvell is, he says he hasn't hit the panic button. I don't think he's going to lose his job based on all of the money tied in the Willie Taggart buyout, what they've got in his buyout. But I do kind of like Florida State to bounce back minus the 5.5. Syracuse has been a little scrappy this year. But I think this is the moment Florida State kind of bust out. Again, you never like playing laying points with an 0-4 team, but I think I'm going to play Florida State there. And then also in the ACC, I don't love early games. I lean Pittsburgh with Kenny Pickett on the road. Everybody's talking about Jeff Collins has got this thing turned around. They play Clemson tight. They upset North Carolina. But I think Pittsburgh is the better team, so I'm playing Pitt in that spot minus the 3.5.
Well, Lance, you are not going to get me to follow you with Florida State. I'm just going to have to believe it when I see it on that one. And I love him. Nobody loves Mike Norvell more than I do, but I'm not doing Florida State. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. I will say another one. Here's a trend going on Friday nights, and we've got one this week. The Friday night home dog, Syracuse, Illinois, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Charlotte. Illinois covered against Maryland. Syracuse, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Charlotte. 4 dogs, home dogs on a Friday night, outright winners this season. Maryland is a home dog against Iowa on Friday night.
Well, so is Utah State. Do I play both?
You could play both. You could, but but it's the ESPN, the big ESPN, but I mean,
good because I like BYU.
But Syracuse and Liberty was on the ACC network, which nobody has.
Well, I don't want to correct you, Rosa, but Iowa Maryland's actually FS1.
It is okay. Well, it's still prime time. We're still talking prime time on a network that everybody that people have. That people actually do have.
Your trends and/or angles have been spot on, so I'm not going to necessarily doubt you.
I know Maryland makes me nervous, man. They make me nervous.
They make me nervous with Mike Loxley, too. And look, Iowa doesn't have an offense, but defense can play lights out. Look, they got a scare last week against Colorado State. You wonder if they were just sleepwalking, getting ready for this game. I don't know. This is kind of a difficult game. It's a small number. I just don't trust Maryland.
No, I'm the same. No, Maryland can be – like, you watch them sometimes, and they look like probably one of the 5 to 10 most explosive teams in the country. And then they just do the dumbest things you've ever seen in your life and throw horrible, Tua's little brother, baby Tua, will just throw like a bad pick, or they'll get a stupid holding penalty, something that just ruins it. And Iowa is so disciplined that, like, they will try to probably bait Maryland into some stuff, and Iowa's defense has been very good about turning people over. So I know it is one that, like, it's tempting to take Maryland, but I'll probably stay away. Now watch Maryland win the game like 38 to 17.
I'll bet it for you. I'll bet.
Good, do it, Fish. You take Maryland.
Lance, the game that concerns me is Sunday night, Tampa, New England, because I think it feels like, and every analyst you've heard talk about this game is talking about how Tom Brady wants to just crush the New England Patriots, crush Bill Belichick, and just end any hopes that they have of even wanting Tampa in their building. That Tom's this is his Super Bowl this season, is to go to New England and embarrass them. The line's gone down to 7.
That's still a massive number. I mean, when's the last time Belichick got 7 at home? Look, Tampa's a much better team. I backed New Orleans last week against the Patriots. Mac Jones looked about as bad as he can look. On the other side, I had the Rams against the Bucs. Had a really good Saturday, 4-1 last Saturday in the NFL. This number is just so big. This is one of those games that I'm probably going to have to play because it's a Sunday night game.
Right.
But it seems so obvious that it's Tampa. But you just wonder if the Patriots are going to be so fired up and Tom Brady presses a little bit. I don't know. It's hard to ever doubt Belichick, but this doesn't look like a good Patriots team right now. And again, Tampa, they were in that Rams game, going into the second half, and it just kind of got away from them.
Yeah.
So I do think Tampa's still one of the better teams in the NFL. But, 7's a lot on the road. I mean, if I was forced gun to head to play it right now, I'd probably play the Patriots. But hell, that's a game I think I stay away from if I can.
Yeah.
The easiest bet in the NFL this weekend is I hate it because I'm a Niners fan. It's Seattle plus the 2.5. It's a desperate Seahawks team. Russell Wilson is the bane of my existence. It's like our secondary sucks so bad. Like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are going to eat, and Wilson can run around. Like it's. I mean,
Roser, my one loss last week was your 49ers. What a tease job! They get down 17-0, and they come storming back. And I felt like minus the 3.5, we were going to get that 4-point win somehow. And I don't know where I am on your 49ers. Going into that game, I was telling people I think 49ers, they haven't played a great 60 minutes yet, but I still think they might be the best team in the NFC. And now you are playing a desperate Seattle team that has lost back-to-back games. Really, really good teams typically don't lose 3 straight, especially guys like Russell Wilson. They don't lose 3 straight. But, the majority of the money is on the Seahawks. I'm getting a favorite, against the public here. I still think San Francisco's a better team, so I'd probably play San Fran in this spot. But if I'm going one NFL game right now, I've been really good against or for the Vikings. I had the Vikings last week against Seattle, and now I'm catching 2 at home against the Browns. Kirk Cousins is playing pretty well, and this Vikings team isn't bad. They should have beaten, the Cardinals 2 weeks ago. They could have easily beaten the Bengals in Week 1 in overtime, a game they lost. They could be sitting at 3-0. So I'm getting points at home. I like the Vikings.
Woo, Lance, you are speaking my language. See, I can't do 49. I can't go against the 49ers on one of our official picks that we do at the end of the show. So I do have an NFL pick teasing people ahead, but it is Vikings plus 2. I think Minnesota's good. I think they are.
Really?
I think they're pretty good. That offense is legit.
They can still win that division.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a 2-team division right now, obviously, with Green Bay and Minnesota, but I think they can win.
I mean, they didn't have Dalvin Cook, and that freaking Madison kid was running all over the place and catching balls out of the backfield. It was like they didn't miss a step. And Jefferson and Thielen are as good of a 1-2 punch at wide receiver as you get in the league.
Yeah. Lance, always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for your time today, and enjoy all the action this weekend. And get yourself on out to a UAB game. I've been to UAB home games. How crazy is that?
Rob, that's it. Yeah, well, you're in Memphis, and I'm down the street. And I haven't done it, but I will do it. But, hey, tell your people to check out LanceBlock.com. 10-4 in the NFL this year. We started 0-4 last Saturday in college. We ended up salvaging with a 6-7. Lost Washington last late night by a half a point. But we've been winning. So jump on board, $90. You get absolutely everything, sides, totals, and you get a free play every day. LanceBlock.com.
Lance, always a pleasure. Thanks, man.
See you guys.
All right, Lance Taylor joining us from Birmingham, co-host of Next Round Live. You can hear that weekdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Memphis Tigers, we talked a little bit about earlier. They're an 11.5-point favorite at Temple this week. It's my favorite trend that I have.
Oh, let's hear it.
Got to be about the birds.
Tigers have won 11 of their last 13 against teams with a bird mascot.
Oh, let's go.
That's right.
Single on fish.
That's right.
Single on fish. Yeah.
Yep, that's it. 11 and 2. Now those 2 losses have come to Temple.
Yeah. And I will tell you right now that number at our amazing sponsor WinBet, you can get it at 11.
Oh, yeah?
You can get it at 11.
Well, Memphis 0-6 against the spread, their last 6 on the road.
Yeah.
2-8 against the spread, their last 10 as a favorite.
Yeah. That's why we have the first half bets, Fish. That's why we have first half bets.
Last 6 meetings between Memphis and Temple. Temple is 6-0.
Yeah, against the spread. Yeah, they are. Temple of the Dog. But the ruler's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
And the last time we played them, it was the screw job. The Joey Magnifico screw job.
Yep,
yeah,
that's right. That's right. Well, all right, bad things happen in Philadelphia. We'll see. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got some NFL to get to, including the quote of the week in the NFL. We'll have that for you and our picks all ahead here on the Odds Couple.
WinBet is live in Tennessee and bringing you the action of real money sports betting right in the palm of your hand. Now you can get in on the action with all of your favorite teams across NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, MLS, and more. Don't forget to take advantage of the generous promos, great odds, and unique parlays available in Tennessee on the WinBet app. Head to the App Store to download the WinBet app and sign up today. First-time bettors will receive a risk-free sports bet of up to $500. Terms and conditions apply for all promotions. Get the details at wynnbet.com. WYNNBET.com. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Who would your number one best international player of all time who has played in the NBA? I know it's hard.
I would either go with Dirk or Olajuwon.
Okay, that's what I was going to say too.
Yeah, I mean, Giannis could very well be that person in 10 years.
And he probably honestly will be.
Yeah.
Join Lang Whitaker and me, Kelsey Ray Johnson, every Thursday as we debate the hottest topics in the NBA. I am Joe on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and our social channels.
So there's two other NBA players from Ball State. One of them played 20 games for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay.
Trivia time!
Rodney Buford.
No, it's not Rodney Buford.
All right, let me think. Ike Fontaine.
Nope.
Theron Smith.
Yes, sir! Rodney!
Theron Smith! Let's go! The Chris Vernon Show, live daily on grindcitymedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
You could be mad at me like, oh, no, you ain't tried my biscuit. I don't care about your biscuit because these flaky biscuits, next level.
My Nana's biscuits were the flakiest, most perfect biscuits, and I have the recipe, and I have yet to be able to recreate those biscuits. And every time I try, I fail, and it makes me so sad because will I ever have a biscuit that tastes as good as the biscuits I grew up on? Probably not.
Rise and Grind with Jessica and Megan. Live daily at 8 a.m. on grindcitymedia.com.
Get ready for Lil Baby.
It's your boy Lil Baby.
Live at the FedEx Forum, Friday, October 29th. Lil Baby and Friends with Gunna. 10
out of 10, niggas know I was going.
And Moosey.
She's a runner, she's a track star. She gon' run away
with 42 Doug. Little Baby and Friends. Friday, October 29th. FedEx Forum. Tickets available at the box office and Ticketmaster.
Welcome back to grindcitymedia.com. Live from FedEx Forum. Now, here's more of the Odds Couple, Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker. Presented by WynnBet.
Hey, Grizz Nation, get the first look at your next-gen Grizz this Sunday, October 3rd, as they conclude training camp with open practice at 1:30 at FedEx Forum. Enjoy Plaza activities starting at 12:30, including DJ Mike T, balloon artists, and more. Doors for practice will open at 1 p.m. with the first 500 fans receiving an autographed photo of a Grizzlies player. Plus, MVPs will get early access for a special State of the Franchise featuring executives and coaches. To become an MVP season ticket member, call 901-888-HOOP today. And for more info about open practice, visit Grizzlies.com. Welcome back, everyone, to the Odds Couples. We get you set for a big weekend in college football and in the Shield. We're going to talk a little NFL, and then we'll have our picks as well for the week.
I thought you might want to hear that Little Baby commercial again.
Little Baby.
Little Baby and Friends.
Mm-hmm. And Friends are coming.
Dude, they certainly are friends because they all sound the exact same when you hear them. Man, I know I sound old, but rap is just not the same, is it, CJ?
Oh, my gosh. You old man.
The flows are so similar now, and they aren't even good flows to me, man.
No, they're all singing. They're all like, I blame T-Pain and Kanye West for this.
That's not T-Pain's fault. T-Pain is actually like
T-Pain's good.
Talented and good.
And 808s and Heartbreak was a good album. And Drake actually has melody when he sings a little bit, but some of these guys, they just hear the beat and they're singing.
We've been doing that, though. It wasn't everybody, right? A couple of people can do that. Like Bone Thugs and Harmony did that.
Yeah, they can do it.
A couple of people, a couple of acts at a time can do it. Your whole generation can't be about the semi-singing life if you're a rapper.
And since we all revert this back to gambling, when this gets played out, 2023 is minus 150, and 2024 is minus 190.
I'm going to go 23. I'm going 23.
23.
Yeah,
all right. So
I'll
it's
go
got about another year on it. Got about another year left.
Eagles Cowboys last week. Eagles sucked against the Cowboys last week. That was a rough game.
Their quarterback's not good.
That'd be Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
But after the game, he did have the quote of the year when asked about the performance against Dallas.
I take responsibility for that. I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to learn from it. We're going to be a better team from it. I believe that. I truly believe that. You know, you take you a deuce, you don't sit there and look at it. You flush it and move on. You're gonna flush it and move on.
You don't sit there and look at it.
Well, Jalen Hurts has never had a really impressive deuce because there are some you've had you appreciate, you know?
You got to take a picture and send it to people. Like, look what I made.
I wasn't going to go there, CJ, but clearly you have done that before.
It sure sounds like it.
I'm not going to let you be alone. I've done that before, too. It's called, I was in high school. It was in high school. It was a dumb high school kid.
Well, I was a grown-ass man. But still, like, look what I made, dog.
CJ, I am blocking your number right now. I am blocking your number right now. I don't want to get that text.
Man. Kansas City, a touchdown favorite in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is 5-1 against the spread as a home dog. Meanwhile, the big matchup of the week, it's Bill Belichick against Tom Brady. Bill was asked about Brady this week, and it got a little tenuous.
Why weren't the Patriots a better option for him when both Robert Kraft and Brady himself said over and over how much they wanted him to finish his career here?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going to go back and rehash all that. We've talked about that.
You've never talked about it with us.
The focus is on the game here. And look, I have so much respect and appreciation for Tom and everything he did here and for me and for our team. And, we're just getting ready to compete against Tampa this week, and we're going to keep our focus on that.
But you talk about rehashing dynamics that you've already gone through. You've never done that.
Yeah, we made a statement when Tom left, and that covered it.
You surprised how well he's played? He's thrown 61 touchdown passes in 23 games down there. Won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Tom's a great player. Nothing surprises me that he does.
Who's the reporter?
I don't know.
That guy is amazing.
But how about that?
Oh, my gosh. Bill Belichick wanted to strangle him. That was amazing.
Tampa is a touchdown favorite in Foxborough. The favorite now, here's the problem. These two teams haven't played since 2017. The favorite in this matchup is 5-0 against the spread. But Brady was the quarterback for all those games with New England. The Bucs, 0-4 against the spread the last 4 games that the two teams have played. But Brady was on the other team. They haven't played since 2017, so really the trends don't matter. This one scares me, though. 7, I know it's a lot of points on the road, as Lance talked about, but
nobody's talking
Tampa
about
should be so much better, and the way Brady wants to massacre his former team, not only has every analyst out there picked Tampa, they're picking them to crush New England, which scares me about the bet for this game.
It comes down to, New England. It's obviously going to be some of these New England guys against Brady, but I think it's more Mac Jones against the defensive line of Tampa. Tampa's defensive line is super strong, and if they can get to Mac Jones, New England's offensive line has been shaky. But there's also this thing, they went out, New England, and they signed Hunter Henry and they signed Jonnu Smith to play tight end to kind of bring that double tight end, a little like a baby version of Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. That's kind of what they're trying to recreate. But if you dive into all the numbers, Mac Jones has actually been one thing he's been very good against this year. He's been pretty good against this year, relative for a rookie. It's been great. He's been good against the blitz, which is very good for the future. You're able to recognize where that's coming from. The other thing they say he's been really good with is when they just go 5 wide receivers, that he is able to pick where he wants to go with the ball, and he's been really good because he's very accurate. So I think that defensive line of Tampa against New England's offensive line is a massive win. And then, that New England defense facing against Tom Brady, they both know each other. A lot of the same guys on that New England defense were there, where there's Dante Hightower, Patrick Chung. Obviously, Stephon Gilmore's not playing yet, but he's arguably the best corner in the league. But, Gilmore can be there on the sidelines coaching those guys, telling them things. So it does feel like it's too high. Nobody is picking, if there was ever a time for Bill Belichick to pull out and Josh McDaniels to pull out gadget plays and crap like that, it would be this game.
Yeah.
We're going to throw the kitchen sink at them.
It'll be interesting. A couple of other interesting notes around the NFL. There are 5 undefeated teams. 3 of them are underdogs this week. Carolina, 4.5-point dog in Dallas. The favorites covered the last 4 in this matchup. Arizona, well, they're playing another undefeated team. They're in Los Angeles, take on the Rams. Rams are a 5-point favorite in this one. Rams are 7-0-1 against the spread the last 8 times that these two teams have met. The favorite has covered 9 of the last 11. Denver is favored as a undefeated team just by a single point against the Baltimore Ravens. In this matchup, the favorite has covered 7 of the last 8. The home team has covered 6 of the last 8 as well. And let me tell you the other one.
Yeah, give me the other one.
The other one, the Raiders, also undefeated. They are a dog in Los Angeles against the Chargers. 3-point dog for the Raiders.
The one is there are 3 teams that are undefeated against the spread this year. Obviously, that will change because Panthers and the Cowboys both play each other. They're both undefeated.
No, the Rams, Arizona play each other. They're both undefeated. Cowboys have a loss.
No. I mean against the spread.
Oh, against spread, yes.
Against the spread. Dallas, Carolina, and Denver are the only 3 teams in the league that are 3-0 against the spread. And then there are like 8 teams that are 0-3 against the spread. But the Denver-Baltimore one, I kind of lean Baltimore too. That Lions team fights, though. I'll give them that, man. They fought against the 49ers, and they fought against Baltimore. That Lions team fights, and they fought for a half before they just, they got Rodgers. It happens. But they fought. Like, I never thought, even in that Monday night game when they lost to Green Bay, I never thought they quit playing. Like, they play. And Denver's defense is good. I know they don't have Bradley Chubb, but in Denver, altitude, that Ravens offense is not anything amazing, and that Denver defense is definitely better than Detroit. So I kind of like the Ravens too in there, and I think Teddy's going to be pretty steady.
Teddy covers.
Yeah, Teddy, he does cover. No doubt about that.
All right, time for our picks for this week. I'll go ahead and start with Fish's 5. I am taking BYU minus 8.5 against Utah State. The road team's covered 7 of the last 9. Here's a good trend for you, Roser. BYU's 4-0 against the number on Friday. They always cover on Friday.
Oh, okay.
Ohio minus 10 at Akron. I'm basically going against a couple of teams that suck. Akron being one of them.
Oh, Ohio sucks too.
And they do. And I'm taking going against UMass. They're terrible. Toledo's covered 4 straight on the road. UMass hasn't covered the last 2 years in October. UConn Vanderbilt. I don't think they could score 52 games scrimmaging themselves. UConn and Vandy under 52. The trends all say UConn and Vandy, all they do is go under. In this game, what an awful game. How could you possibly pick a side on this game?
Yeah.
How could you possibly do that?
You picked a side on the total.
And taking the Saints minus the 7.5 against the Giants. New Orleans is covered. They're 5-1-1 against the spread, last 7 against the Giants. All right, CJ, you get to go up next.
All right, give me Oregon minus 8 against Stanford. I think Oregon is one of the best teams in the college football game right now. Certainly a top 10 team.
What's that game before that?
I'm gonna get to it. Don't you worry, baby bird. I'm gonna feed you. I think we searched for the broken ATM after week 2.
That's right.
I think Oklahoma is that. They're a team that everybody still thinks, the perception of Oklahoma is, they're really, really good. But you go and you watch some of these games, they're all unnecessarily close. Oklahoma has not done well covering against the spread, and they've had some lines drop down. Think about last week, West Virginia was like plus 16.5 or something like that, and ended up making it a 3-point game.
Right.
So I think that somebody is going to jump up and bite Oklahoma, who has no business beating Oklahoma. I think Kansas State wins. I'll take them straight up, but I'm getting 10.5, so give me K-State plus the 10.5. Titans minus 7.5. I think they've got everything figured out. And last week, one of the rules of gambling, the top 5 rule of gambling is don't bet on bad teams. And I tried it last week with the Jets, and they failed me miserably. And so I'm going to make up for it by betting 2 games against bad teams right now. Vanderbilt, UConn, let's go. 14.5. Give me Vandy. They got to be able to beat UConn. And in front of that raucous crowd, you know it's going to be packed to the brim because tickets are still only $2. $2 to go see Vanderbilt, UConn, under the lights.
Are they going to have shirts that say, I was there?
I hope so. And if I was closer, I would absolutely go to this game.
Okay.
$2.
Okay.
And Detroit and Chicago, again, 2 terrible, god-awful teams. Give me that on the over. Lions, the total has gone over in 2 of the 3 games for the Lions so far this year. And 4 of the last 6 between these 2 teams has gone over. The Lions D is allowing the second most points in the NFL, so Chicago should be able to move the ball and score. I think this could very easily be like a 24-27 type of game, and that will get you the over in that contest.
So here's the question. I will be in Nashville on Saturday. My buddy wants to go to this game.
It's $2, dog.
Do I? Because we're going to drive back to Memphis that night. We're going to just drive back to Memphis.
Have you ever been to a game at Vandy?
I've been to a concert at Vandy.
Okay.
I've been to a concert at Vanderbilt Stadium. Saw
it's great.
Robert Earl Keen, Jason Mraz, and Dave Matthews Band.
It's great because there's no bad seat in that house. I mean,
Right.
not one bad seat.
No,
but
it's a
the
nice
problem
stadium.
is their opponent. I mean, if you're going to go see Vandy normally, like I went to because I wanted to go see Georgia.
Yeah.
And Vandy beat Georgia, which was just hell. It was a miserable afternoon in the rain.
Man.
Mark Richt. But they're not even playing anybody good. They're playing UConn.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's
so
tough.
I wonder.
The historic angle, though, of how
This
bad
is
both of them are.
historically bad.
You could get that shirt. I was there.
Yeah, I could get the shirt. I was there, and I was thinking, like CJ says you can get it for $2. I wonder if I just walked up there, if they would, give me $2.
Just tell them, hey, all I have is a card. Yeah, come on in.
Come on in. Yeah, right. Here's the other thing, too. If I'm going to go to this, I would have to go to the ticket. I'm not buying a ticket online. I want to go to the ticket office, and I want to get a ticket. You need the stub that says you were there.
Yeah. And get there early for their little
You know
walk.
what? You know what? On our way out of town, we may just do that. Just
Go for a quarter.
Go for a quarter. Or just go to the box office, buy a ticket, and leave. And don't even go.
Then don't even rip the ticket.
Yeah.
Put it in some glass.
Because I'm going for a card show. I'm going to their sports card memorabilia show.
Yeah.
The great Ric Flair will be there, who you've met,
Nice.
obviously.
Yeah.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Lawrence Taylor will be
LT,
there.
sure.
Wade Boggs will be there. Yeah. So I'll have some sleeves with me, for graded cards and everything, and I could just take the tickets, put it in there, and I could send it to PSA and get it graded. Have them label it the game.
I mean, this has got to be the worst game of the century. It has to be.
Oh, I mean,
there aren't many better.
Bowling Green in Akron last year is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Bowling Green in Akron was pretty bad.
that was
but
bad.
I think I may have to do this. Just go.
Just to say you did.
Just to say I did. I went to Vandy and UConn.
And not only are you not supposed to bet on bad teams when you're gambling, this is the definition of a stay-away game. Vanderbilt 8-8 versus non-conference against the spread, 7-7 against the spread as a favorite since 2017, 6-6 since 2017 as a home favorite. They are 500 all the way through. You should not be betting this game, but I don't care.
The other reason it is a stay-away game, CJ, is what you have already said, and we have said it several times. Do not bet on bad teams, and this is a game between two bad teams, so
cancel each other out, right?
And somehow you both made picks on it.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable to
that's
me.
true.
Like going against the rule.
That is true.
But at least you took a side on the total.
What do you have for us this week, man? You've been on fire.
What do I have for you this week? We are going to go to Louisiana Tech. I like Louisiana Tech. They should have beat SMU. Lost on a Hail Mary at the end that was batted around. SMU team that beat TCU last weekend, who's getting ready for Texas. I kind of like TCU against Texas this week. Gary Patterson's always ready for them. But I'm going to go Louisiana Tech. We're going 2 ways here. They are playing NC State, just coming off a big win over Clemson. I think there's a perfect letdown spot here. I like Louisiana Tech plus the 10.5 in the first half, so you get 10 and you get the hook. La Tech can score. I also like La Tech plus the 19 for the game. If you want to put it in a teaser and get it over 3 touchdowns, you can do that too. I like Memphis. Took a lot of heat for taking UTSA last week. I was right about it. You also had UTSA in our GCM pick'em. We were right about it. I like Memphis this week. I have heard Silverfield has been on their arses this week. I think Memphis covers the 6 in the first half. Memphis's offense, they were going 21-point first quarter. They were going. They were doing well there first half. I think Memphis can do it again. I like them to cover the 6 in the first half. I'm going against Lance. I think that Georgia Tech team is good. I think they will cover the 4 against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's offense is good, though, but you saw a North Carolina offense that really couldn't do anything against that really wasn't – they didn't explode on Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech was able to do whatever they wanted to do to them. And Pittsburgh's defense has shown it will give up points. They have given up points to Tennessee. They They gave up points to Western Michigan and lost. I think Georgia Tech gets that win outright. You don't even need the 4, but take the 4. And then I do agree with Lance. I like Minnesota +2 against the Cleveland Browns. I think the Vikings win that game straight up. Not crazy since it's a 2-point spread. Right. But I think Minnesota's offense is good. Cleveland's defense still has questions. I mean, the Bears have a horrible offensive line, and Justin Fields he didn't even have time to run for his life. He would drop back and got sacked.
Right.
Like, it just in his face. It's like Justin Fields was running for his life. No, he really wasn't running. Like, he didn't get a chance. Like, ball got snapped, and, then Myles Garrett was there. So, but yeah, I think I like the Vikings +2.
You also got a big super deal for us.
We got to roll with Roser. NFL teaser. $100 collects you $400 right here. 7-point teaser. This is on WinBet. We're taking the Vikings +9.5.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's a 7-point teaser. So when I entered this, they were 2.5. Mm-hmm. It was going between 2 and 2.5 all night. But when I did it, it was 2.5. So 9.5 Vikings. Even if it's +9, take it. The Bucks. You're going to get them as a pick 'em. Pick the Bucks over the Patriots. The Bengals tonight, Thursday night, -0.5 point over the Jags. The Jags, right. The Titans, pick them over the Jets. Again, Jags, Jets, and the Patriots, I'm all going against them. Rookie quarterbacks, 1-10 against the number this year. 1-10 against the number, rookie quarterbacks. The only win, Patriots over the Jets, Mac Jones over Zach Wilson is the only win.
And
then the last win, and then we're gonna roll with the Seattle Seahawks +9.5 against the 49ers. There is no way the 49ers are beating the Seahawks by 10 points. And just like I don't think there's a way the Seahawks are beating the 49ers by 10 points. That game is always game's going to be close. It's a division game and it's a rivalry game. That game will be close. It'll be one score either.
$100 to get you $400.
$100.
And even if you listen to this after the Thursday night game, you could still get something on the other 4.
Yeah, you could still get something on the other 4. I think the other 4, I think it's like +260, 250. Yeah, perfect. And you could add another one to it. You could do Dallas, or you could do the Panthers. Make the Panthers +11.5 or something if you think that game can be close if their defense, or if you want to take. You want to do Dallas +3.5.
Well, Saints pick them over the Giants.
Saints pick them over the Giants. You could do that too. So I do worry with 0-3 teams. Yeah. Some team like the Giants, because maybe they will get a win because they come close.
They will at some point.
The Jaguars suck. The rookie quarterback teams like the Jets and the Jags, I don't. Yeah.
All right, we got Lang's picks.
Yeah.
So let's check out what Lang's locks are this week. He likes Iowa against Maryland.
Oh, he is going with the Friday night favorite.
That's right. He likes Notre Dame as that home dog against Cincinnati.
That's a trend win. That's why that works.
LSU, Auburn in the Who Are They game. Interesting, going with the home team there. He's taken Arkansas against his Georgia Bulldogs.
He knows his team. I will say that, man. He does. Whenever Lang has bet on Georgia, picked Georgia, and then picked against them, he is typically right. He does know his team.
And going with the Packers -7 against the Steelers on Sunday. Line. Yeah, there you go. All right, that's going to do it for us here. And don't ever forget, when you take a deuce, don't look at it. Just flush it.
Or if it's impressive, take a look at it. I mean, I've let.
Man.
I mean, I took one 2 days ago that was. Had to look at it. I didn't take a picture, but I looked at it. I was like, pretty good. Yeah.
Impressive.
I'm sure you've done that too, Fish. Well, you're married. Kind of tough for you to do that now.
No, it's my greatest joy.
I've been to Fish's on the weekend, and I have seen his other joy is family asking him to do something. He's like, I'm working. When he's watching football. I'm working. And he is it's working.
It's work.
It's work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm working.
That'll do it for us here today. Thanks for joining us here on The Odds Couple. For Roser, for Lang, for CJ, for Kimball, I'm Fish. Thank you for tuning in. We'll do it again next week. Best of luck with all your picks this weekend. I hope you nail them. And don't forget, we're 60-40, so might want to just go with us. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll talk to you next week here on The Odds Couple on Grind City Media.
You've been listening to The Odds Couple, presented by WinBet on GrindCityMedia.com. Tune in next week with Rob Fisher and Lang Whitaker.